everyone. Welcome back to Rare Realities with Madimo Mimo Mokgosi, where we dive into the emotional journeys of individuals living with difficult realities, where we tell one story at a time. Imagine going to the doctor and coming back with a diagnosis where it can either be cured, cannot be cured, and now you have to live with this condition for the rest of your life. Today, I am with Ziya Kanya.
Hi everyone, I am so honored to be here. I'm a bit nervous, but
Mm.
Um, so I was born
Mm-hmm.
with some brachydactyly. So I was born at 6 months. I was born very early.
Mm.
So as you can see, I don't have fingers. I was born without fingers.
Oh, okay.
And I also don't have toes. And I was also born without teeth.
Ah,
These are plastic.
what?
Yeah.
So we are the same. We've got something in common.
Yeah. So after that, I was obviously born without fingers. So I did go through a couple surgeries, but I was never sickly or living with like a very tough situation.
Uh-huh.
I never had pains or that, but I did go through a couple surgeries to fix here, fix there. And then last year happened when I was 12,
Mm-hmm.
early last year, about February. I had at this point before this happened, I had 9 surgeries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the surgeries were for my and I went to the doctor for my feet. Okay, this happened 4 years.
Okay.
At that time, it was 4 years back. And I all of a sudden, my grandma was picking me up from school, and I started experiencing foot pain under my feet, almost like there was a stone in my shoe.
Mm.
Um, then it became both feet. So eventually, I went to the emergency room, and because I couldn't take the pain, it was getting sore. Like it was like
Mm.
until like here, and it was like, and I checked for stones, it was nothing.
Yeah.
I tried to put my feet in water. I tried to drink paracetamols. I tried,
Nothing was.
nothing was working. So I went to the emergency room, and it was sensational. You would like touch, you know. So when I went to the emergency room, the doctor gave me a drip, and that stopped the pain
Mm.
and I could sleep finally. But she told me to go back to the orthopedic
Did
surgeon.
they say what was causing the pain?
She didn't know. She said I should go back to the specialist who did my foot surgery. So I went to the orthopedic surgeon, and when I got there, I had to wait a while because she was on holiday.
Uh-huh.
So I was still in pain, and at that point, by the time when I got to her, I had pain on my
The whole
knees now,
leg.
and I
Mm.
couldn't walk because I would like step and pain.
Yeah.
So when I went to the orthopedic surgeon, she told me that she doesn't know. I have to do an MRI. So I ran tests, did MRIs, and they came out clean. She also did one of my back because I had to wait for the MRI. By the time
Uh-huh.
for the MRI, I had pain on my back, and it was the worst thing ever for my back. So it kept on like
Yeah.
increasing. So she told me that your MRI came out clean, except you have a missing bone on your spine, but it happens sometime. So then she took me to a pediatrician. Pediatrician took me to a neurologist because the pediatrician said, "Oh, you have a nerve." And at this
Yeah.
time, I'm in constant pain. Like I can't sleep. I was sleep deprived. I had so much pain. I would pass out and wake and pass and wake up. So eventually, I went to the neurologist,
Mm-hmm.
and she put me on a couple. Well, she took me to the hospital first to run more tests, and I tested positive for an autoimmune.
I was just waiting for you to say that because as you were telling your story, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm not a doctor, but once someone speaks of an autoimmune disease, I just know how it can get to your body. I mean, having your immune system attack your
Parts of your
your parts
body.
of your body and you just cannot do anything about it. And I know even with doctors as well, they also struggle to like treat the autoimmune because
Yeah, because there's so many and there's not treatment at all for most of
yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I tested positive for autoimmune disease. So they
Hmm.
tested the category and then I tested negative.
Okay.
So then the doctor's like, this happens, especially to people who had COVID in the past.
Oh, okay.
Um, so then she just started, she was like, I don't know what to do at this point because now the doctors are also frustrated. I mean, they're having conference calls thinking,
What
what
can
must
we
we do?
do?
But eventually they put me on medication, which I still drink. So I'm on a chronic treatment
Okay.
for medication. I drink Lyrica for my
Mm.
and I drink Pregatrol for my spine and my nerve. So it's epileptic medication that
Oh,
strengthens your spine and treats nerve.
are you also epileptic?
I'm not,
Oh,
but
okay.
epileptic medication in studies has shown to help with nerve pain
Oh,
and
okay.
to strengthen the spine.
Oh, okay.
Because they were very worried about that missing bone.
Where exactly is it missing?
I'm not
Is it your upper
sure.
spine
I think
or?
it's my lower or in the middle, but I know it's not the upper spine. But I think the doctors have tried their best. But now the doctors are trying other ways as well. So I'll be going to rheumatologist because of I keep on testing positive for an autoimmune disease. This is constantly happening. Like multiple times they test for it.
Yeah.
Every 3 months they test for it and I test positive. So I'll be going for to a rheumatologist next year to check what's the problem
And what's the
and
solution?
what's the solution. But this year, I think I had the biggest breakthrough because I started to experience hand pain. Yeah, I also wear a compression glove.
Yeah. So what does the compression glove do?
So when I was younger, I used to have this glove to help me write because I have two hands, right?
Oh, okay.
So in grade two, one of my teachers said, no, stop using these things. And she didn't mean it from a bad place. I still love that teacher till today, but I think she wanted me to have more freedom.
Oh,
So I stopped, but then this year I started to experience hand well from last year. And it just gets worse and worse. But then the doctors are like, oh no, it's because you started writing. You only have two fingers. That's too
you
much
putting
strain
pressure.
on my
Oh,
hands. So I went to OTs and all of that. And while I was there, they also told me about and while I was there, I went to another neurologist who told me about my back. And he helped me so much because I didn't know this existed.
mm,
One of the hardest things with this whole experience was a diagnose. I've never gotten a diagnose on paper, even till today. So when I tell people 1, 2, and 3 happened, it's very hard to tell them. They ask me
what?
what's wrong, and I don't even know what to tell them. It was very hectic because I got paralyzed for 8 months, and that broke me.
Going?
Mentally, it affected me a lot. It did affect my mental health a lot. I did go start going to therapy.
Uh,
It did affect my mental health a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And that's why I'm such a big advocate for mental health, because it crushed me. And not everyone has money for a
yeah.
therapist. Many
True.
people are struggling in silence because,
True.
they don't have money for bread. What
Mm,
about mental health,
yeah.
you know?
And it is so important to take care of your mind more than anything because that is the power to break you or to make you.
It starts here.
It's that of course. Zia, how old are you again?
I am turning 14 in January.
She is so young yet so powerful. So Zia is also an advocate on TikTok. She raises awareness on. So, in simple terms, Zia was born with missing limbs.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now she's all grown, and I think you're doing amazing. It takes so much strength to put your health out there. And I can imagine as a young person who is, you still in school? How is that?
So I go to a very small school, luckily. I go to a very small school, and my teachers are the world to me, because since I go to a home school almost,
Mhm.
so we go to a learning center, but I can do my work from home.
Okay.
Since I have a nerve problem, I can't sit for long.
Oh,
So, and I can't go to school every day. So I go like 3 times a day, I mean 3 times a week.
uh,
But they they send me work so I can still be up to date with the class and where the class is, so I don't fall behind. It did take a toll on my academics, and I remember that's one of the things that broke me the most,
I can
because
imagine.
I really, really love school.
Mm,
Hey, I have a passion for school. I want to be a pharmaceutical scientist one day, because people can't afford medication, and I want
yeah.
to make it cheaper for them.
Mm.
So that really broke me. I remember constantly crying about my grades, and my mom is my pillar of strength.
I love her. I met her.
My mom is my pillar of strength. Hey, she makes me so strong. I remember in the midst of everything when I couldn't walk, I remember my strength came from her strength. I was strong because my mom was strong.
Yeah. Mm.
And obviously, she wouldn't cry in front of me, but I know it inside it hurt
It
her.
hurt.
I know she told me the other day that, hey, even though you didn't see it, it was happening. It was really hurting me. But my mom is my biggest pillar of strength. Eh?
And I want you to take that everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
Just remember the strength of your mom. When you feel like it's getting too hard, just remember to always take one step forward for your mom, because she loves you and you're so special, not just to her, but to the whole world. To me, you are special. When I came across your account, I was so interested in this young lady who is willing to share. And I remember telling my friend the other day, she asked me, what's your plan? You know, with this sharing your story and motivating people. And I said, it's time I go to schools and go speak about conditions, because kids, I feel like now lately, confidence is taught. You know, you see someone living with something and you just, they're like, hang on, I can also do it. I am not alone. I'm sure now you know that you are not alone.
Yeah.
Yes, your condition may be rare, but I always say, when you find someone who is living with autoimmune, that's you right there. And when two minds become powerful, then you can take over the world.
That's also one of my biggest dreams, to go to schools, especially disabled schools,
Ah,
because not many people are taught to love themselves, especially at a young age.
true.
I remember one of my, I remember very vividly, I was crying over a grade I got, and my mom showed me your account, and she was like, she can do it, you can do it. And I promise you, your account till today, I feel like crying. It motivates me, because I see this beautiful, accomplished woman, and I can see myself, like a reflection of myself in the mirror. Hey, your account does more than you really think, because it touched me personally. Before I even started social media, your account was the one that really helped me and made me strong.
I love you and thank you, um, more than anything, for coming to the podcast where we share the rare realities. And I don't know how many times I speak on, just because we do not talk about it, it does not mean that it does not exist. Today, tomorrow, someone is going to stumble on our conversation, and more people are going to be willing to go see the neurologist, the, you name them, all these specialists, because you came here and you spoke about your journey. And family, do you have any siblings?
I do have one brother, and he is also a very good brother. I mean, he takes me to my appointments,
Mm.
because it's a very hectic schedule.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of doctor's appointments. I go to
Mm.
hydrotherapy every week,
Yeah.
And hydrotherapy is the thing that made me stand today. My biokineticist,
Yeah.
yeah, she is very good. She's the thing that made me stand today. Without it, I wouldn't be on my 2 feet. I remember the day I took my first step and
Yeah.
I felt like crying. I felt like a little baby taking
Yeah.
her first step. But like the thing that made me start social media was I remember my mom was telling me about this child, and she was very young. She was like 7. She was like, I want you to meet her. There's a similar hand condition as you. Not
Mhm.
the exact same, but similar. And she's showing me pictures of her. And I'm like, oh, can I see her hands? And in all her pictures, she's
She
wearing
hid.
socks. They're hiding her hands. And
Bro.
that broke me.
Yeah.
They're constantly being hidden, not being taken to play. Just because we have disabilities and conditions
Yeah.
doesn't mean we're not humans and we
True.
deserve to
Mm.
go to places, to see
Mm.
things, and to live a life and to be confident.
True. True.
And that's what made me start social media, that little child. And I remember her, and it broke my heart that they were hiding her.
Yeah. And would you say that because that young lady is very young, would you say that the confidence needs to start with the parent or with her?
With the parent, because I remember when I was younger, I used to get very severely bullied because of my hands, and my confidence started because of my mom.
Mm.
If my mom didn't give me confidence,
Mm.
I wouldn't have it. I mean, you got your condition when you were way older, when you built that confidence
Yeah.
previously.
True.
So my confidence started because of my mom, and my
Yeah.
mom made me confident.
I'm glad. And it seems like you've got the most amazing supporting system. And when it comes to friends, I'm sure you do have friends, but do you find it hard to make friends?
So right now I don't have friends, which is actually sad, but for me, friends, they come and go, hey? It is hard to make friends, like genuine friends, because many people want to be my friends because they feel sorry and not actually are interested in my personality.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in the wheelchair, my mom would rent the wheelchair and she just refused to buy it because she's like, I know one day
You're
you'll
going to.
walk,
Mm.
you know? She
Yeah.
just refused to buy it. And the guy was like, well, ma'am, you paid for it all now. You can have it. And she's like, no, I will continue renting this wheelchair because my child will stand. And I'm very grateful for the tools I have, like medication, you know, my back brace, my teachers, all these things are making me very strong and are my pillars of strength and things that make me wake up in the morning and say, you know what?
Yeah. Well, you just gained yourself a friend. I'd like to be your friend because of, you know, like you said, some friends come and go. And more than anything, be grateful that that happens because you'd rather have genuine people in your life. Already, you're dealing with a condition that is uncontrollable, and now you have to deal with humans that do not know where you can stand with them. So I say just be grateful, and the right friends will come. The right friends who are willing to know more about Ziya, who Ziya is, besides the conditions. And we're not sick, we're just different, we're just special. And God chose us because we are the strongest, you know? If not us, then who? And from what I saw when I met you, this bubbly, like this bubbly, I don't want to say little because you are such a young woman who is going so far. And when your mom said she knew that you were going to stand, not only are you going to stand, you're going to walk. You're going to walk in rooms that you weren't even aware of. You're going to walk highly and where you walk in and people already know your story. you know, and you just keep pushing and educating more than anything, because I know it's hard for you. I mean, I was diagnosed late at stage, so I never got to be bullied as a child, and I never felt that difficulties, but I feel like it's harder now as an adult. But you need to grow and learn to block the negativities. Yes, you are human. It will hurt when people point out what you cannot control. But because you have accepted, what do? You do not fight them back, but you do say, yeah, I am aware. I've got this. Or other people, because you've built such an amazing community, they will come and tell those people that you already know.
Yeah, for me, it doesn't really affect me a lot when,
Mhm.
especially in public. That happens a lot, in
Yeah.
public. I bet when people like just stare at your leg and you're like,
Mhm.
for me, it doesn't really affect me that much because I had that since I was very young.
Yeah.
So, but I do get the little kids are like, mommy, and the little kids don't really phase me, but the adults, I'm like,
You're grown
you
for this.
understand what's
Yeah.
happening,
Mm.
but the
Yeah.
little kids, it doesn't get to me. I just wish we could live in a society where people understand it's very, very rude to stare.
Yeah.
It's very rude. Sometimes think of yourself in those people's shoes, you know?
Yeah. I remember coming across one of your posts, and you did say that the amount of medication that you take makes you so drowsy, and it's hard for you to like finish the day. So
Mm.
how is that now?
So that's better because now I use these patches and they have local anesthetic in them. And that's the ones that the neurologist prescribed. But at that time, it was because of the hand pain I had.
Mhm.
So the GP at the emergency room just gave me tramadol. And that's a very, very strong
Strong painkiller.
medication.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I still drink tramadol today, but when I have extreme nerve pain,
Uh-huh.
it's not often, like once a month.
Yeah.
It happens where maybe I did a lot of activities in a row.
Uh-huh.
Like I went to the gym, then I went swimming, then I helped my grandma clean the house, and then my body gets
So
exhausted.
yeah.
Then I have real pain. My hands lock. It's really bad.
Yeah.
Um, but I also feel people don't believe, especially in my school. There's some people who just don't believe it because, with my hands, they believe it because they see it,
Uh-huh.
but pain, people can't see
Pain,
pain.
yeah.
People can't see pain.
Mm.
And when people can't see something, they don't believe it.
True. True.
So I get many children in my school who don't believe it and they're very mean about it. I remember there was a point where I just came back to school and I was getting bullied by 2 grades. 2 grades were bullying me and it was affecting me so much because it was like 2 full grades in my school, but my school is small, so like a grade is like 6 people, so it
Mm.
was like 12 people bullying me, but that's
That's
still
a
a lot of
lot.
people
That's a
to
lot.
bully me.
Yeah.
And it was getting to me. I remember coming to my mom and crying, and it made me kind of like dislike school, and that was coming from someone who loves school.
Mm.
Sometimes now they do, but not anymore because now
Okay.
they're kind of used to it.
Yeah.
But at the start, they didn't believe it. Many people thought that I was picking it, especially like new students who were just coming in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So your teeth will never ever grow.
My teeth will never ever
Is
grow.
it some, or you've got?
Most of them are just from the top, but
Okay.
I do have some. My teeth will not grow because I never developed the roots for
Oh,
the teeth
okay.
to grow.
When you're born. Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So you're special. You are very special. And then recently, I know in September,
Mhm.
you did your surgery
For my
for your
hands.
hands. Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you about that. So I went to the orthopedic surgeon because when I was doing my foot surgery, he told me that, oh, you should also get hand surgery because these might cause you pain. And then she told me that no, I don't need hand surgery. So I went for a second opinion because I had pain and she didn't give me a solution.
Okay.
The second opinion told me that I shouldn't get surgery now. I should wait till I'm 16 because he said the pain is caused by my nerve is not growing as fast as my tissue because of the structure of my hand.
Okay.
And at 16, if the pain, he said that, so he specializes specifically in hands.
Mm-hmm.
At 16, the pain, if it doesn't go away, because many people who have same hand conditions get the same pain around this age because we're having growth spurts and we're growing very fast at
Okay.
once. So he said at 16, if the pain doesn't go away, then we'll consider surgery. But for now, let's wait until you're 16.
Okay.
And if 16 comes and you don't have pain anymore, then we don't get surgery. But if you're 16, you still have pain, then we'll get surgery.
So the surgery is basically to reduce
The
the
pain.
pain. Oh, okay. Not change anything.
No.
And then are we good with the feet?
The feet are good. I had surgery when I was younger, when I was, I think, 9. Yeah, I was 9 when I had the surgery, and it was the worst surgery because it was so painful. I was in theater for how many, 10 or 11 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time. I remember going to surgery in the morning and coming back at night. But it was very so, I can vividly remember everything that day. I woke up in the morning, I went to the hospital. There was this little boy, and that boy stays in my heart till today, and he got amputated. He was crying from the time I went to theater.
Mm.
So the time I come back for 11 hours, he was crying. And, he kept on telling his mom, it's painful, it's painful, it's painful. And the whole ward was crying. It was crazy. Eventually, at night, I started to experience pain as well. Like, it felt like the surgery they were redoing. I felt
Yeah.
like the cuts. Um, but then they did give me morphine, and that is the hectic drug. Um, and that little boy was also crying, and his mom was scared to give him morphine because side effect is death.
Yeah.
So, but my mom did convince her. I was like, if Lord wants to take a child, He will take him anyway. At
Mm.
least He will take him while he's sleeping and in peace and not crying.
Yeah.
So eventually, the mom did give in, and he didn't have pain anymore. And he
Yeah.
woke up in the morning. So, trust the process.
Good.
Um, my biggest fear is to die without leaving a name for myself or a legacy. It's very important for the world to remember you. You don't want to be remembered as, oh, that person, or, oh, remember Ziya. Oh, yeah, I remember Ziya. She had just 2 hands. I don't remember anything. I don't want to be remembered that way, you know. So every time I meet someone, I try to make a bigger impact than them just remembering me for my hands.
See why I say you're such a young woman. I mean, you're very wise as well
Thank
to be
you.
thinking of the others and that mark that you will be leaving behind. And you're not going anywhere. You're still going to live more and inspire more and touch more lives. Does it ever come to you that, um, let's say, after being 16 and you have to go for surgery and that doesn't work and now they have to amputate?
For me, I've never feared amputation because there is like a cure almost. You can get prosthetics.
Yeah.
There is a way forward,
Yeah.
you know? So amputation never really I never feared
Okay.
amputation. Yeah.
I love how you always thinking for the future as well. You don't just think of something that's going to be temp. Like now, you don't want a solution for you to be temp, but something that's going to be like a lifetime. So you don't have to go back and say, okay, now this didn't work. Let's try this again. But you always look forward to the end
Mm.
of everything. And I do believe also you've got the most amazing doctors that are trying all they can to help. Honestly, I haven't come across anyone with the same condition as you. And I know that they do exist. It's just that everybody's just scared. They don't know what's happening and they are so misinformed. And I feel like once more people come out and they know which specialist to go to, then it makes them much better, you know. Talking about something doesn't just raise awareness on the condition, but on what people can do to help.
Yeah, the right doctor is a very important thing. What I would
Mhm.
always advise people is that if you don't feel satisfied at a doctor's office or you feel like your solution is not, always go for a second
Second opinion,
opinion.
yeah.
Always go for a second opinion, because with my hand thing, when I had hand problems, like I was drinking the morphine that the GP gave me and I was tired and I couldn't go to school. And I went to the orthopedic surgeon and I didn't get what I wanted because she told me to drink Dispring, and it was like,
Mm.
I tried the Dispring. I drank it for 3 days and I had pain, and it didn't solve the situation. I went to go for a second opinion at another orthopedic surgeon, and he told me to go to an OT, and now I have a way forward. I can go back to school. You see,
Yeah,
not all doctors are the same. So if
true.
you feel like it's not enough, go for a second opinion.
Yeah. The way you love people so much, I hope that you don't get any um disruptions or you just going I know health is unpredictable, but more than anything, keep pushing. And I wanted to ask, you mentioned something earlier about you also raising awareness on mental your mental health. How did you get there?
So, personally, me, I'm someone who suffered a lot with mental health,
Mm.
like very much, very much. There was a point where I was even suicidal and to the verge of going to a mental hospital. So, I suffered a lot with mental health. I still do.
Due to
But it's better now.
yeah.
I go to therapy still and I drink antidepressant, and there's a way forward. So, and mental health is very important because if your brain doesn't work, nothing works. You could have everything in life and feel sad and empty inside. Mental health is very important, and not everyone can afford mental health, and it's not taken seriously, especially in our community, hey?
Yeah.
It's not taken seriously, and sometimes it's even being made a mockery of because people love to use the word depressed
Yeah.
and don't even understand what
What it
depression
means.
is or
Yeah.
how it works and why it works like this.
Causes.
And they like to call people crazy because their brain works differently than others. And I don't think you're crazy because your brain works differently. You're not crazy. If you're bipolar, you're just bipolar. Your brain works differently. You can still move on, work, and have a the normal life like
Mm.
everyone else. Just because people's brains work differently doesn't mean we should shame them.
What would you say? Would you say that it was your condition that for you to go into depression, or there was just a whole lot of everything? You not being able to go to school and
So, school was a lot of my support system. It kept me going. And when school was taken away from me, that really, it was like I was in a sinkhole. It broke me so much. So I think the thing that caused it the most was because I couldn't walk. Because I'm very independent. I do everything myself. I
uh-huh.
don't, since I was young, even, I think that's what my mom instilled in my mind. Eh? And, people don't believe me when I say I do everything myself. I can cook for myself. I can do my own hair. No one helps me with anything.
Yeah,
It might take me a little longer to do it myself, but I can
you
still
can do it.
do it myself. So I was very independent and I couldn't walk all of a sudden. So that broke me. I remember, I don't know what's the English word, maar net ke gogoba mo fatshe so.
Yeah, you were crawling.
Yeah, I was crawling. I
Yeah.
was crawling because I wanted to get my own stuff and I was impatient and I wanted to do it myself. So
You,
I pushed.
you pushed, you know? And I'm glad with your Miss Independent, you're going to go far because once you step out, your mom is not always going to be there to hold your hand. Your mom is not going to be there to face the world for you, but you know, it's very important to strengthen yourself now when you can. And I love it for you. I love it. You've shown so much and you've given so much like your name says. As- I- And vele o kgadisitswe, you know, there is light in the room. And I'm sure everywhere where you walk with light. And Ziya, I'm not going to keep you for long. Um, what do you have to say to someone living with who was also born with missing limbs, to a parent as well of that child, or people who know other people who are living with the same condition? What is your
So I'd like to say that, first of all, to that child, that you can be so successful and live such a normal life. You know, your hands don't define you, or your limbs don't define you, you know? And to the parent, instill as much confidence and independence into that child, because that's very important, you know? It's very important the mindset they have, because your mindset makes you and creates who you are. If you have a negative mindset, you'll forever be sad, you'll forever be angry. If you have a positive mindset, you'll always be positive and always think about positive outcomes. And that's what I like to say.
You've heard it, guys, not from me, but from Zia. It all starts here. A positive mind makes you go further in life. And just like that, we done for the day. Thank you so much, Azia, for coming through. Until next time, bye.
Bye bye.